Hello, everybody. I'm going to send you a video this Monday with vocabulary that will be helpful for practicing at home. This week, we are still going to be talking about safety, but specifically, we're going to be talking about safety in bad weather. So, la tema por lección esta semana es seguro, específico seguro en clima mal. And we're going to be talking in our conversation time this week about hurricane. So if you can look here, you'll see we've got a picture of a hurricane. There is the English spelling for hurricane. It's very similar to the Spanish spelling. And what you want to think about before we get started is what happens in a hurricane? What actions are a part of a hurricane? Okay. Think about those words in your language that you know best. Pensar palabras por acciones en huracán in tu idioma. And then as we're talking in English, you will be able to hear, hopefully connect your language to the English. So think, what actions happen in a hurricane? Also, think about this question. Is it dangerous? Remember, dangerous is peligroso. So, is a hurricane dangerous? And think about the answer in your language. Why? Why is a hurricane dangerous? Now, you might be thinking, I don't know how to answer this in English. No tiene respuesta en inglés por dos preguntas. That's okay. The first part of understanding in English is connecting to your first language. Primero paso por tiendo en inglés es constructar conexiones to idioma. So connecting to your language first, okay? We're going to take a minute then and now look at some vocabulary that will help you as you talk about hurricanes. So the first word the first set of vocabulary that we're going to be talking about, we have the words emergency kit, flood, first aid supplies, flashlight, and battery. And notice here we have 4 pictures, but notice there are 5 words, okay? So aquí es 4 pictura, pero 5 palabras. So one word is not going to match the picture. Think for a moment, do I know any of these in English? And this is a good time to think about how well do I know the word. So think about the word emergency kit and give yourself a rating, a number for how well you understand, okay? Would you say number 1, I know that word very well? Number 2 is like más o menos. Nah, maybe I heard, but I'm not sure I understand. And number 3 is no, I don't know that word. So for emergency kit, what number would you use? 1, yes, I know. 2, or 3, I don't know. For the word flood, same question. What number would you use? 1, I know the word. 2, maybe. Or 3, No, I don't know. Next word, first aid supplies. 3 words, actually. How do you know that word? How well? 1? Yes, I know. 2, 3. Next, we have the word flashlight. How well do you know the word flashlight? Very well. No, not at all. No. And last is the word battery. How well do you know the word battery? Perfect. Maybe not. All right, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to do some matching the words with the picture. Okay, and I'm going to also be going over the pronunciation for those words. Okay, all of the words on our list, todo palabras, are nouns. Todo palabras es el sustantivo. They're all things. Flood is an exception. Flood can be both an action and a noun. Flood is dos. Este is verbos y accione, o noun, el sustantivo, a thing. So knowing that flood can be 2 things, I'm going to match it with our picture. Flood goes here. Flood is the action of water going up. So this picture shows a flood, but it is also showing the action of the water moving. So it can be both. When we see a lot of water, más agua, flood. Nombre for más agua is flood. Pronunciation, flood. Flood. It is also the action. So when the water is going up, it is called flooding. Okay. También, palabra por acciones de agua, cuando agua va arriba, flood. So this word flood, you can see it solo, flood, or you can see it as the action. Flood, flooding, flooded. Think about that for a minute. Okay. In this picture, I see a flood, the water. Or I can talk about the water. Okay. And the action of the water. Accione por agua, flood. The water floods the road. There is the action. The water floods the road. Or I can say it in past tense, in pasado. The water flooded the road. That would be with ed, con ed. Or I can talk about it in continuous with ing. O use our ing. Flooding, flooding. The water is flooding the road. All right, let's look at the next picture. Any ideas for the next idea? You might be thinking that it is something for emergency, and you are correct, but there is actually a better answer. This is, excuse me, the better answer. It is 3 words, first aid supplies. Last week, we talked about the words first aid, and we talked about that as an action. When someone needs help, medical help, the first actions you do are called first aid. So a person in an ambulance does the action of first aid. Trabajo en ambulancia, completo acciones first aid. They may use a Band-Aid. They may check your temperature. If you are very sick, they may give you medicine, an injection, or um, those are the actions for first aid. When we talk about not the action, but the things used for first aid, we say first aid supplies. Nombre por las cosas usar por first aid is first aid supplies. So any item that you use to help someone with a medical need is called a first aid supply. And this is más, so it is supplies. Okay, if you have one item, first aid supply. Más, first aid supplies. Okay. All right, looking at picture 3, think about this for a minute. Think about, what does this item do? I use this when it is dark. Este es por cuando es oscuro. It is for, este is por luz, por light. So think luz in Spanish. And then in English, luz in inglés, light, light. So I'm looking for a word that has light, light. This word has light, L-I-G-H-T, light. The whole word is flashlight. Pronunciation, flashlight. Remember here, SH will say sh. So you're hearing two words, flashlight, flashlight. You're hearing A saying a because it is consonant, vowel, consonant. And then in the second part, I says I because I-G-H says I. Flashlight. So this is a picture of a flashlight. All right, our last picture on this page. This is the word battery. Battery. The pronunciation in English, many people say it quickly, battery, battery. You might hear it battery, battery. The T sound kind of depends on the person. Okay, so sonar por la letra T is depende por cuando persona is hablar. Some people will say it more with a T, battery. Others will say it quickly. Otra persona hablar más rápido, battery. So you don't always hear the t, t, t. Okay, battery, 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 battery. 3 parts, battery, battery. Okay. Notice we've got one word left, emergency. Remember that can be tricky because it is so close to the Spanish. Emergency, emergency kit. It, consonant, vowel, consonant, kit. Emergency kit. Let's look at the picture for emergency kit. Here it is. An emergency kit are the things you need at home in an emergency. So, ¿qué cosa es necesito por tú en tu casa cuando es emergencia? So you can see the emergency kit has candles, food, water, a flashlight, toilet paper. Okay. First aid supplies. Okay. It is what you would need in your home for an emergency, and not just a medical emergency. Is no por solo emergencia por medical, is for total emergency. So clima, uh, quarantina, right now, right? And for medical, también medical, okay? So this vocabulary word is emergency kit. Emergency kit. All right, I'm going to back up and I'm going to reset this. So I'm going to give you a few minutes. Just think about those pictures and the words. This would also be a good time if you want to draw a picture and record the word, or write the word, the picture, and the translation in your language. That would also be a good time. So, este es tiempo por tu practicar vocabulario. Tu poder, you can practice with a pencil, con lápiz, escribir pictura y nombre de item en inglés, escriba traducción y palabra en inglés, you can decide how to practice, okay? But take a moment, stop the video, and write the words. Right, if you need more time, tu necesita más tiempo, stop the video and wait. Otherwise, I'm going to go on to the next part of this, which is reading. We are going to practice reading a story about a hurricane. In this story, there are two parts to the story. One is a description of a hurricane. The second are the instructions for what you should do if there is a hurricane. Okay. La historia tiene dos secciones. Una sección es por a descripción de hurricane. Dos secciones, segunda sección es por instrucciones, por acción por persona en la huracán. Okay, so I'm going to read it first. I will read to you so you can hear. And I want you to listen for pronunciations. Okay, that will be the first thing we are going to do. Hurricanes. A hurricane is a storm with heavy rain and strong wind. Hurricanes cause a lot of damage. There are floods everywhere. Sometimes the water is so high it can reach the third floor of a building. Sometimes the wind is so strong it knocks down trees and moves cars. Follow these instructions if there is a hurricane near you. Before the hurricane, keep an emergency kit in your home with food, water, and first aid supplies. Put it in a place where you can find it. Buy batteries. In hurricanes, sometimes people don't have electricity in their homes. In hurricanes, people often need to evacuate their homes. Find out the best way to leave quickly. During the hurricane, listen to weather announcements on the radio or TV and follow the instructions you hear. Okay, remember I said there are two parts. We're going to think about part one first. And I can tell there are two parts because this dark blue line is separating the two parts. So remember, when I am reading, I want to look for things that are in dark letters or a different color. Es importante mira letras en oscuro o letras diferente. That is telling me those letters are important. Este letras is importante. Okay, so here is the dark, and so that is telling me it's separating. Este es por separado. So I'm going to look at the first part, and we're going to think about the idea of hurricanes and a description. Este es descripción por hurricane. Okay. When I'm looking at this, I want you to think about some of the words used here, okay? A hurricane is a storm, tormenta, with heavy rain. Okay, you might be thinking heavy. I don't understand heavy. Think about rain. Think about the storm, a hurricane, and what is the rain like? This word is an adjective. Esta palabra es adjetivo por rain, lluvia. What is the rain like in a hurricane? Is it a little or más? In a hurricane, the rain is a lot. So this word heavy must mean much rain. A hurricane is a storm with heavy rain and strong wind. Again, think about this word, strong, if you don't understand. Wind is venta. Strong is an adjective. Este es adjetivo. What kind of wind would you see in a hurricane? A little wind or lots of wind? In a hurricane, you would see lots of wind. So strong is meaning lots of wind. This is telling me a hurricane is a storm with heavy or lots of rain and strong or lots of wind. Hurricanes cause a lot of damage. Damage is a word for destruction, things that are broken, roto, damage. There are floods, este es vocabulario, floods everywhere. Sometimes the water is so high it can reach the third floor of a building. There may be many words you don't understand in this sentence, but think first. The water is something high. It can reach the third floor of a building, edificio. Okay, so in a hurricane or flood, what is the water like? Is the water low or up? In a flood, is the water down or up? The water is up. This word high is telling me it is up. The third floor of a building. It means up to 3 floors on a building. Sometimes the wind is so strong it knocks down trees and moves cars. Again, you might be thinking, no entiendo, I don't understand. Okay, we're talking about the wind, and it is strong. Remember, strong, we saw here, we said much wind. Okay, it knocks down trees. Okay, a lot of wind. What happens to trees when there is a lot of wind? They go like this. Okay, moving. But when it is very strong, they go down. And here's that word down. When I think about, well, the trees are this, there is no down. I need to think about the tree going down. So knocks down is the action. Down. Knocks down. Sometimes the wind is so strong it knocks down trees and moves cars. Okay, move, remember, from one place to the other. Okay. All right, look at the pictures here, and you're going to see in these pictures some of those difficult words. Palabras para aquí difícil tiene pictura aquí. So there are pictures here for these words, okay? And we're going to try to match those words. There are 4 pictures that show these words, okay? So I'm going to read again, and this time I want you to see, as I'm reading, if you can find the picture for the sentence, okay? So Kayla will read, mi lie, tu mira pictura, and donde es pictura por palabras mi lie, okay? So a hurricane is a storm with heavy rain and strong winds. ¿Qué pictura? Heavy rain and strong wind. Here's a picture. Heavy rain and strong wind. No mira wind, but I can see in the rain, lluvia, it is kind of, the rain is not like this. It is coming like this. So I can see the wind moving the rain. All right, listen again, escuchen. Hurricanes cause a lot of damage. There are floods everywhere. Sometimes the water is so high it can reach the 3rd floor of a building. Which picture, qual pictura, is for floods and water? Aquí. This picture is for flood and water. All right, again. Sometimes the wind is so strong it knocks down trees and moves cars. 2 pictures this time. Qual pictoras? Sometimes the wind is so strong it knocks down trees and moves cars. This picture, oh, and this picture, here and here. All right, we're going to keep moving through the next sections. Oops, sorry. We're going to look at the section about the instructions. So remember what we said, dark letters are important. Here are the instructions for what you should do in a hurricane. Follow these instructions if there is a hurricane near you. Now, notice there are also dark letters here. Este es la Torres Oscuro. También, also, these are dark letters. That is telling me this is an important idea. This is an important idea. Now notice it says before the hurricane. Here is the word before. Before is for time. Before is a preposition of time. Palabra before is preposición por tiempo. Think about when is before? Think about in your own life. Before you saw the video, before you came to class today, what were you doing? Before you went to work, what did you do? Remember, before is antes. Before. All right. So these points are telling me 3 things to do before the hurricane. Este puntos is por 3 cosas por antes hurricane. Keep an emergency kit in your home with food, water, and first aid supplies. Vocabulario. Vocabulario. Put it in a place where you can find it. Now notice, segundo puntos. So this is a new idea. Buy batteries. Vocabulario. In página pasado, vocabulario battery. Una. Aquí, más. Batteries. In hurricanes, sometimes people don't have electricity in their homes. Right, then we have the third idea. Here's our third point. In hurricanes, people often need to evacuate their homes. Find out the best way to leave quickly. I see some difficult words. Evacuate. Leave. What does that mean, to evacuate or leave? Something with houses. In hurricanes, people often need to evacuate their homes. So I'm thinking, what do people do with their houses in a hurricane? Hmm. They, what do they do? Something quickly, rápido. Hmm. If I'm thinking in Spanish, this is very similar to a Spanish word, evacuar. So that might help my Spanish speakers because you know the Spanish. Okay? But if I don't, I'm thinking, what do people do? Well, they go away from their home, or maybe they try to keep their home safe. Both are good guesses. The correct is evacuar, to go away from your home. Okay. All right, our next section is for during the hurricane. Remember, before is a preposition of time. During is also a preposition of time. Palabra during is también preposición por tiempo. What does it mean, during? Now, when I think about the idea of time, I'm thinking about before is antes. And there's another word. We have before I go to work, and then we say after I go to work. Before, after. Después. Okay, this is not after. It is in the middle. So before, after, medio, during. Again, for Spanish speakers, this word is similar, durante, during. So in the middle of the hurricane, what actions should you do? Listen to weather announcements on the radio or TV and follow the instructions you hear. Right? Looking, announcements is a long word. But if I just forget this word, listen to weather on the radio or TV. Entiendo. I understand that. Announcements is just a way to say what you see on the TV. Follow the instructions you hear. Follow? I see that here too. Follow. Follow. What do I do with instructions, instrucción, from the weather, from the governor, from my state? Yes, I do them, or no, I do not. In an emergency, you do the instructions. The word follow is a positive response. Follow es respuesta positivo por cuando escuchan instrucciones. When you hear or listen to the instructions, you follow them. That is the next thing you do, okay? All right, we're gonna keep going through here and take just a minute looking at a first, an emergency kit, okay? Here are some directions about things you might put in an emergency kit. So remember that vocabulary word, esta es pictura por vocabulario, emergency kit. You would have food, water, a flashlight, first aid supplies, a radio, and batteries. So this is a chance to practice the vocabulary. All right, last thing we're going to do is practice the vocabulary with a game. Okay, so este is jugar. Jugar? I don't think that is right. But uh, we're going to play for practice today, okay? So we're gonna play tic-tac-toe. You might have played before. You use X's and O's. You want 3 of one shape in a row. So I'm gonna do some questions and we will play. I will be one group and you will, then I'll have kind of play against myself, okay? All right, so I'm gonna pick the middle spot. Okay, here is the question. Hurricanes cause a lot of, ¿qué respuesta es correcto? Which word? Supplies, batteries, damage. Damage is correct. So I'm gonna put an X here. All right, now we're into person 2. So I'm playing mi imaginary? My imaginary friend. Amigo imaginario? Is that correct? ¿Es correcto en español? Okay. So they're going to be the O's. So I'm going to put my O here, and now I'm going to answer the question. To evacuate means to leave your home, fix your home, or knock down your home. Think? Leave your home. That is the correct answer. All right. Let's try here for persona una. She, what action is evacuating her cell phone? Is reaching her cell phone? Is charging her cell phone? What action is she doing? Charging. She is charging her cell phone. Oh, yay! 2 X's. All right. Persona dos needs to pick here. Remember, 3 in a row. 3 toros en una línea. Winner! The customers are looking, at the menu, to the menu, on the menu. Pregunta es por qué preposición es correcto. At. They are looking at the menu. All right. During a hurricane, you should listen to the weather emergencies, supplies, announcements. Announcements is correct. Emergencies sounds maybe okay, but announcements is the word for what we see or hear on a television or radio or computer. Emergencies is generale. Weather emergencies you cannot listen to. Por ejemplo, emergencies for clima is tornado or hurricane or flood. They're the name of the emergency. Announcements is what we hear, the information. Okay, información por clima is announcements. Right. Some people don't have weather announcements, electricity, hurricanes during a big storm. Remember, during, durante, medio. Sometimes people don't have, during a big storm. Electricity is correct. Oh, person 2. They did not see that. Person X, person 1 can go here for the win. An emergency, a hurricane, electricity is a dangerous storm. A hurricane is a dangerous storm. Oh, winner! 3 in a row. Yay! All right. For today and for this week, we're going to be talking about the topic of hurricane. So, esta semana, la tema is hurricane. So, I'm going to send you the questions for this week for our conversation. And then also remember, we're going to be working in Burlington this week. You should be working this time in high beginner. And we're still working on the topic safety in Burlington, okay? I will talk to you on Wednesday, or I will talk to you on Friday, okay? Have a great week.